So it's the week after Easter, and the snow here in central Alberta seems to be thinking about melting. There's no hurry, though. We're all slowed down. A lot of things are still closed, barbershops, for example. Well, these past 3 or 4 weeks, when we've been prohibited from gathering at the church, maybe you've seen the videos that Terry and I have posted about such ideas as holding hope and trust for the whole world as we sit in isolation. That is part of our job as followers of Jesus, as people of spirit, to hold the world in trust. We've quoted, among other passages, Psalm 46, the end of which says, "Be still and know that I am God." In Easter Sunday's reflection a couple days ago, I said that the kingdom of God, the realm of God, is here if we enter into it and take it upon ourselves, as Jesus taught us to do. He says that if we do that, if we take it upon ourselves, the yoke is easy, the burden is light. Well, okay, that's a sweet thought, that's a lovely idea, but how do you do that? How do you put on that easy yoke? Well, there are as many ways to do that as there are human beings who desire to do it. But there is a door that's readily available to us during these self-isolating days. Some might call it meditation, but if you're not practicing meditation regularly now, that word can carry some connotations of self-denial or special spiritual training or being real religious and everything. So we can call it something else and still pick up that light burden, still slip into that easy yoke. We can call it sitting in silence. Silence, said the 16th century Spanish mystic John of the Cross, silence is God's first language. Not Hebrew, not Greek, not King James English, but silence. Both an outer and an inner silence. So what about doing something like this over the coming post-Easter weeks? Invite yourself through that door of God's realm. It's perfectly safe to do that. And spend, say, 10 minutes a day in silence. You don't need anything to do this. No candles, no essential oils, or manuals written by ancient monks. We have everything we need. So yeah, your mind will try to run away with you in the first seconds and minutes of silent sittings. And some outside help can be useful. I've used a space called headspace.com in the past and found that worthwhile. That's on the internet. And there are numerous iPad and smartphone counters and ringers and dingers you can get, but don't get those things. An even better way to begin, if you're not doing this already, is to simply designate a time in the day when you won't be bothered, which is a whole lot easier to do now than it was, before. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Any timer, and then simply sit and relax. Consciously loosen your muscles and your jaw. It's a bigger job than it sounds. And then just count your breaths as your belly inflates and deflates. Breathe from your stomach. Now I count to 11 because it's not 10, and that keeps me awake. But choose your own number. And when you get to the end of your count, begin again. If you become aware of a pain or tightness, concentrate on it for a moment, register that you're feeling it, and then let it go. And return to your breath. And count again. It's very simple, but it's urgent. I know this seems like it's for beginners. If you're a seasoned meditator, well, you already know what you're doing. But everyone is a beginner, even if you've been meditating for 30 years. Every time you sit down to do this, it's a new beginning. full of power and hope. We can always return to our breath. It's always there to come back to. That's why the word for both spirit and soul in biblical Greek is pneuma, breath. We can always come back to our breath. So when we do this practice, sitting in silence, it supports everyone who is on the front lines doing the essential physical work to keep human society afloat these days. But this sitting in silence is the essential spiritual work, and there's no better time to do it. Sitting in silence gets us out of the wind, so to speak, gives us a bit of shelter from the tornado of fear and anxiety. It is a radical act of sanity in what feels like an insane world. So try it. And when you've done 10 minutes, then bring your loved ones to mind. Bring people in the congregation who need prayer. Bring those frontline workers gently to your mind, wordlessly. And your awareness of them lessens the suffering, lessens the anxiety, both in you and in them. So here is the thought for the week. It's been sitting here for all these weeks. In an age of constant movement, nothing is more urgent than sitting still.